Hey guys, so it occurred to me today while I was doing dishes and editing videos, I haven't done a garden tour in that high tunnel yet. And it's been about a month, 2 months. Y'all haven't seen what I've been growing for like 2 months. You ready? You want a garden tour? I'm kind of excited to show you guys everything because it's like a jungle in there. Cue Guns N' Roses. So everything kind of got a little crazy. We had to put cattle panels up in the top to trellis everything so that it doesn't just grow out of the raised beds onto the ground and get all crazy. I've got a couple of new beds out here. One is full. Of course it's full. And the other one needs to be filled. I need dirt. That's going to always be a thing here because all of this is going to be raised beds. This is going to be my garden maze eventually. So I'm going to go open the high tunnel because it's like 87 degrees. We've had it closed for a couple of days because it was supposed to rain. Now every time I open this, it pours. Then I close it so that everything doesn't get flooded out. And then it pours, and then it stops. I go to open it, pour some more. So I'm having a hard time kind of gauging when I should leave it open, but I find that I have to open it because it gets over 100 degrees inside there, which is not ideal for anything that's growing in there. I mean, yeah, I was used to 120 degrees in California, but we're not in California. It's 90% humidity here. Ew. I am a sticky, grody mess. You notice my hair is up in a tight little knot. Yeah, because the humidity does really weird things to my hair. I forgot about that. I grew up in Massachusetts. I forgot about what humidity does to this mop. Yeah, you're not going to see it down much. So, anyways, here I go. Ramble on and on. Y'all just want me to get in that high tunnel, don't you? Yeah, you just want to see what I've been up to. Creepers. Alright, so let's get into it. Oh, you see these poles? I don't know if you can see them. This is going to be my gate that leads into the garden. And if I could turn you, see the string, the rope? That's going to be a walkway that leads out to a gate on the other end. So we're going to have lots of paths that lead through the garden maze. All right, enough rambling. I know I can hear all of you already. Come on, Terry, just get in there. Oh yeah, and if you're new here, hi, I'm Terry Lynn. This is Serenity Asylum Acres. We just moved from California, Southern California, to Southern Missouri. This is our first year experimenting with plants and garden things. It's kind of a joke out here for my neighbors. They keep telling me, oh, you can't grow that here. And I'm like, cool, come back in a week. I stick stuff in the ground and it grows. So without further ado, we're about to do a garden tour. I don't know how long this is going to be. There's quite a bit in there, and I did have a couple of my friends who are struggling with their tomato plants asking for some input, so I may just kind of show you how I make my tomato plants grow to 10 feet tall. I don't really know how I do it, I just know that I do it. So I'll give you guys a kind of a quick breakdown on what I do with my plants, how I get them, and y'all, they're up to 8 feet tall already. I don't know, it just grows. Green thumbs. Well, they're not green yet. Wait until I get in there. They'll turn black. All right, let's get into it. So while I'm out here, I figured I may as well show you guys my garlic. So half of this bed is garlic and half is mixed various types of onions. So the onions, I think I kind of planted everything. If you've known me for a little while, you know that I am a very, I plant my beds deep and crowded. So yeah, this bed looks a little crowded, but this is only since the end of April. No, beginning of May. First couple of weeks of May, I planted these just to see. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be successful, but I'm going to try. And usually when I say I don't know if it's going to be successful, I'm going to try. It works. I may not get a bumper crop, but I'm going to get something out of that bed. So half is garlic. This half over here is all my garlic, and this half over here, this way, is my mixed onions that I picked up at Oompa Loompa Land, Wally World. We'll see how it goes. I'm just giving you guys an update. So that's, let's see, May, about a month. This is about a month in. So the garlic should be ready by October-ish, around my birthday. I should be pulling out garlic if it worked. The onions, I'm guessing that they'll probably be ready in about a month. I'm going to start looking at them again around July-ish, maybe August. We'll see. I'll keep you guys posted. Do you want a video of walking up to this monstrosity? It's going to be really, really hot in there, so before I do anything, I need to get these sides up so that I can get some airflow in here. I may even have to turn the fans on. Oh my gosh, it's so ridiculous. I love it. It makes me so happy. So we have to pull the little trigger, open the door. Oh my goodness. Where to start? So, here are all of the plants in these blue barrels are what I pulled out of the big 10-foot bed because it was overplanted. Shocker, I know, shocking that I may have crowded the hell out of a bed. Huh, what? No. So these are my early Jersey cabbage on the sides. You can see they're actually doing surprisingly well considering they got yeeted out of the bed and just kind of thrown off to the side. And then I saw the pile and I was like, well, you know, I should probably stick them in some dirt. We'll see how it goes. And then these are the red cherry tomatoes that I pulled out to thin out the bed that I planted with the majority of my tomatoes. Not all of them, but the majority of them. And then down here we have, let's see. Oh, these are the Cherokee purples. These are a medium-sized or large-sized slicing tomato. You see all the little flowers I've got on there. So Cherokee purple I've never had before. I've never tried it. I've never grown it. So I figured, well, let's give it a whirl, shall we? So these buckets are on the ground. I'll give you a little bit of a reference for just how tall these are actually getting. I'm 5'3", so I don't know. Are they quite? They're almost, what, 5 feet? They're about 5 feet tall. These are about 5 feet tall, and these are just my extras. These are my, I have to thin this bed out. Lord, it's hot in here. So I'm going to go and put these sides up going to turn this off because this heat is going to kill this battery pretty quickly. So I'm going to put these sides up, and then I'll come back in and I will walk you down the aisle. Ooh, that sounded really awkward and weird. Hello, butterfly. Sounded awkward and weird, and I apologize, but not really. And I will see you in 5 minutes, because it takes me about 5 minutes to get everything rolled up the sides. Let some air get in here. I'm looking for the record button. Alright, I'll see you in a bit. Whew. Sorry about that, guys. I come in here with all the intention of shooting a video tour, and I start pruning. Sorry. It's just one of those things. You get in here and and it's hot. It's very, very hot in here. Johnny took down my thermometer, so I have no clue. I don't even know where my thermometer is at this point. I know it's hot in here. I know it's got to be at least 90 something. Give me 1 second. Let me put this down, because I'm going to show you guys how I brutally, as Johnny puts it, mangle and mutilate and just start coming in here with a hatchet and just start cutting stuff down. I'm not. I prune very heavily for my tomato plants. My neighbor calls them my tomato trees. I mean, they kind of are. But I've already got fruit setting. So once my banana water is ready, I'm going to give them a little feed with some banana water and then watch them just go. Pah! Okay, I'm going to put this down. Give me 1 second. I found my thermometer. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, it's real close to 90, but that was off on the side where the flap is open, so yeah, it gets to be about 100 degrees in here when I come out to open it, and that's usually by 11 o'clock in the morning. I know I'm lazy, okay? I'm retired. Give me a break. So I don't get out here until later in the morning to survey my kingdom. I don't know. Anyways, so I'm going to turn this around because you don't need to see this sweaty, red in the face, puffy thing. So we're going to start showing you my crazy tomatoes, etc., etc. All right, so let's see. So we've already showed you the red cherry tomatoes, and we come over here. I can't even back up far enough to get all of them in here. So these are the Cherokee purples. So I prune very heavily, trying to line up this shot so that I can show you how heavily I actually prune. So you can't really tell, but there's string on these. Pull you in here. Oopsie. So you see, I just use yarn, and I wind the yarn around the stem until it gets to about this, like the crown. I don't know if that's what it's called, but that's what I call it. Till I get to their crown, and then once it continues to grow, like this little one over here, boy, everything is backwards. I don't know if you guys have ever shot a video before, but you just kind of pull that up and around. You see, this is the little crown in the center. So you just, and I've got little fruit sets that are trying. Lord, I am sweating. Whew. Everybody wonders why I keep towels in here. So I just bring this around very carefully. So I don't want to stress this area too much. I mean, you can't even see what I'm doing. For fuck's sake. Alright, fuck it. There we go. So I'm winding it around until I get to about here. Now, I don't want to overstress this bloom because it will start setting fruit. I've got all these clusters that are getting ready to open up. So I'm going to stop there. Once these open up and start setting fruit and this grows up a little more, then I will just continue to wind the string around. All this does is really it supports the plant so that it can continue to grow up the string. So you see they all have their own string that they're winding up, and as they get up towards the actual trellis wire, if I can see how the trellis wire up here, there, right there. The trellis wire runs the entire length of the greenhouse, high tunnel greenhouse, whatever you would like to call it. Johnny calls it the wind tunnel, so I just tell him, just call it the greenhouse. Just call it the greenhouse, it's fine. So these are the jelly bean cherry tomatoes. I have never had a jelly bean cherry tomato before, so these were one of my experiment plants this year. And you see all of the little flowers I've got on here already, and you see how heavily I thinned these out down at the bottom. I am trimming all of these lower branches. So I'm trimming anything that will get the splatter, because I don't water from the top. I water everything from the bottom. Let's see if you can you actually see that? Yeah. So I water from here. So you're going to get rain splatter, water splatter up this stalk. So if you have leaves that are getting splattered, that's where you end up with the powdery mildew, that little white like mold that starts growing. That's from the backsplash from the water, and all the bacteria starts to build up on those leaves, and that's how you end up with rot. So if you keep your stems trimmed back, then you won't have that problem. So I do have some pest damage, but from what I'm understanding out here in Missouri, most people are already fighting pest damage. I haven't seen any real cause for concern. And if you know me, you've known me for any amount of time, you know that I don't use any chemicals in my garden at all. I don't use pesticides. I try to do everything as naturally as I can. So to combat the mold issue, I use peroxide in a spray bottle, and I just spray everything down with peroxide. I will feed everything with Epsom salt and crushed aspirin. I do use I think it's a 555 fertilizer. Let me see if I can find it. That would have been nice if he had thrown his trash away. Here we go. Oh, it's a 463. I use Dr. Earth homegrown organic natural tomato vegetable and herb fertilizer. It is a 463. So it has beneficial soil microbes. Let's see if we can get that to focus. Focus. So I use this probably I don't even use it once a month. If everything starts to look a little droopy or wilty, then I'll start, I'll give it a little bit of a powder on the dirt, and then I just water it in. That seems to work for me. We'll see how long it works for me. I don't know. So yeah, these are my jelly bean cherry tomatoes, and they seem to be doing pretty good. Now remember, in these blue buckets, these are my extras, and these are a cherry tomato. So they are a quote unquote indeterminate. No, they are a determinate. Cherry tomatoes are a determinate, if I am informed correctly. Oh, look, somebody needs some help trellising. So I have to get his little leaves out of the way. Figure out which way I was winding it. Wow, he grew a lot. And again, this just helps support their little leaves, so that they can grow good sturdy stems and grow up the trellis. I should have tightened these strings. We got these all strung up in a thunder and lightning storm. Yeah, that was fun. That was fun and interesting. I apologize for my crappy camera skills. Johnny is asleep, otherwise I would have him dealing with the camera while I show you how to get these all wound up. Now again, I don't want to overstress this little thin crown. See how this kind of crowns out, and it's got a little fruit set starting. So I'm going to stop here and just let it rest against this string. This one also could use a little assistance. So basically I just come in here every morning and adjust everybody up their trellis strings. I can easily spend 7 hours a day in here managing my stupid plants. And again, up near the top, let the little crown rest against the string without forcing it. If you force it, it will snap. Like a little bit of a wind will come along and it's just going to snap off, and then you're going to be pissed off. Or I'll be pissed off if I end up breaking my plants. So you just have to be careful and very gently guide it up its little trellis. Again, be very careful when you come to fruit sets so that you don't disturb it. Let it rest against its trellis, and it should be pretty good. Please cooperate. Thank you. Yeah, so these are all of my extras for my jelly bean cherry tomatoes. Never heard of them, but I'm super excited to see what these turn into. Isn't that pretty? So that's a pretty decent cluster. These jelly bean cherry tomatoes seem like they're very intriguing to me because I've never had them, so I can only assume what they're going to taste like. I guess we'll see. And then we get down here to the beefsteak. My beefsteak tomatoes. These are, again, all of my extras, pruned very heavily down at the bottom. See that stalk? I prune them real heavy and then do the same thing. All of my tomatoes, my squash, my cucumbers all get trellised like this. Everything gets trellised like this. I started doing this last year in California, and it worked so well that my tomato plants out there were literally 10 feet tall. I had to get on a ladder just to get to the top fruit. The fruit that was coming out of the tops, I had to get on a ladder to get them. Crazy. Crazy, crazy. Yeah, so I come in here every morning and I do this every morning. I adjust everybody and get everybody situated up their strings. It is so hot in here. Goodness. Whew. I'm sweating. Yeah, these aren't putting out any fruit sets yet. My beefsteaks. I have lots of little clusters, but I think they're just getting a slow start. And that's okay, because we have this entire bed over here. This is a 10-foot bed. I'm going to come all the way down here because, yeah, that bed is very quickly getting out of control. Now, that bed has been thinned out. I have thinned everything as best as I could and put the extras in this bucket. But you see they've grown almost to the top of their trellis. We put the cattle panels that we brought from California up top. And we put, I think 3. Yeah, we put 3 up the center. And we're going to start connecting their trellis lines right to the sides of the cattle panel so that they can just start growing up instead of hitting. Now this roof on this greenhouse is 9 feet on the sides. It's up to 9 feet. So let's go ahead and let you see my little lonely chocolate cherry tomato. And this is a black cherry tomato. I bought that from Home Depot. I believe it was Home Depot. And that thing is a monster. It's all the way up to the trellis line already. So it will get trellised up to the cattle panel. And it's got fruit already on here. I don't know if you can see. I think I'm going to just take you off of here. And I apologize. My hands shake. So my camera skills are a little on the wanting side, and I apologize in advance. So we've got some little fruit sets here. We've got more. Where's my hand? We've got more here. So these are going to be a black cherry tomato, which is kind of intriguing to me. Everything that we're growing this year is new for us. Where in the hell is my hand? See, I suck at videoing. So we've got this little cluster, got a cluster back there. And you'll notice that I'm a little timid reaching in here because I put my hand on a big old brown recluse yesterday. And if you know me, you know I am spider bait. Oh, hello. Please get out. I don't know if he's a friend or a foe, See, moths I have no problem just putting my hand in there. But every time I put my hand in here, I end up touching something that can potentially bite me. And yeah, I'm spider bait. So here's the black cherry tomato in all of its glory. It's all grown up here, and it's grown all the way through. Here's my parsley. I trim this down once a week, and it just keeps coming back fuller and fuller, so I'll have to trim this down today. Here's my green beans. Make sure that there's no spiders. So I've got green beans that are coming in. Oh yes, I can harvest some green beans. Get out. No one invited you. Go away. You're not invited to this party, bug. Get out. Go on. Beat it. So, we could travel down here. Cherry tomatoes. Now, this is my volunteer. This plant that's in the front with that big fat stalk was in my parsley starter. I think it's a beefsteak. I could be wrong, but based off of the fruit set clusters that are forming on this monster, let's see, here's another one. I'm going to say it may have been cross-pollinated. I'm totally fine with that. I know a lot of people are, purists and they don't want their plants cross-pollinating. You can see I plant my bed real heavy and real thick. Now if you come down here, you can see how I prune my tomato trees. They're about due for another trim. So I come in here every day and I water from right here. This way I can just look in here and I can see how everybody's doing. I can see if I've got any pest pressure or mildew or mold or anything funky growing. See, now this needs to be cleaned up. So I'll have to come back here with my snips and go in there. There's my basil. Keeps on coming. That keeps growing, and I keep cutting it back, and I roll it into sandwiches or a salad. And then I just take the stems and stick them in water. I'll show you my kitchen window. My kitchen window is always full of starters that I just cut and stick in water until they root, and then when they root, then I just go ahead and stick them in dirt. Then I have a new plant. So, cherry tomatoes. I've got one row of cherry tomatoes right here. They're all the way up to the top of the trellis line. So we're going to start training them to just grow up and over. And then next to the cherry tomatoes, we have the Cherokee purple. I've got 2 rows of Cherokee purple. Those are growing pretty good. Next to that, we've got the jelly bean cherry tomatoes. See all their little stems. Everybody's got a name tag. You see these little moths? They love it in here. I just got buzzed by a bee. And that's the jelly bean cherry tomatoes. And then 2 rows of the beefsteak. Now you see how heavy I prune so that you can see all the way through and make sure when I come in here and I try to get all my suckers and Get everybody on their trellis line and get them growing up straight. Grow, you bitches, grow. I need spaghetti sauce. Then in the middle here, if I can get everybody to move their arms out of the way, sugar snap peas. Yum! These don't make it in the house. I eat them. So my sugar snap peas are right in between the beef steaks. Look at how big that one is. Good eats. That was an Alton Brown reference for all of my foodie friends. So yeah, I've got I think these are the Oregon sugar snap peas. They're like a giant, these are a giant sugar snap pea. These are amazing and delicious right off of the vine. They snap, can you hear that? And they've got the pea, they've got really nice peas on the inside that are nice and firm. They're delicious. Nice and sweet, but not so sweet they're like sugar. And then I've got my Romas. These, I took a little while to thin them out, and the first day, the day after we thinned these out, oh, they looked so sad. So sad. But I came in here, I pruned them all real good. I've got lots of flowers. Looks like I should get a decent amount of Romas for my spaghetti sauce off of these plants. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 plants in this bed, just Romas. Now, come to the end. Gosh, these are so delicious. See, this is why they don't make it inside. I'm going to let that one grow. This big fat sucker, he's going in my mouth. Now, these are not the Oregon Giants. See the difference? This is the Oregon Giant sugar snap pea, and this is just a regular, I don't remember the name, the species, the name of it. I will find it. I'm going to link the seeds that I started so that you guys can, if you like. Most of my seeds come from seeds.com, Baker Creek, which are right up the street from here. Well, I say up the street, they're an hour away. And M.I. Gardner. I've been very, very happy with his seeds. His seeds I have had zero problems with. And he has a YouTube as well. Now we come down here. This is where I put my hands on a brown recluse. She was not happy. She had a big old sack of eggs too. So I've got my bunching onions. Looks like everybody needs a little bit of a drink. Bunching onions over here. My California Emerald Green peppers that I started from seed. I started my seeds in February, and I only ended up with these 2 plants on the end. No, 4 plants, sorry. And then I dropped these seeds in 3 weeks ago. And then on the side, between my red and green peppers, I've got Spanish yellow onions. They're coming up okay. So obviously these are seeds that I put in, and these are the starts that I started in February. Then I've got a red lunchbox pepper. See all the flowers? Should be getting some peppers here pretty soon. And then I've got California Wonder red peppers planted there. These are the yellow onions and the red onions out of that mix that's planted with the garlic in the other bed in the front. Oh, I'm so scared to put my hands in here. So this is a mixed salad, a mixed lettuce mix that I literally just tossed the seeds in here 3 weeks ago. This is 3 weeks. I'm not crazy. Crazy. And then behind all of this insanity, I have red cayenne peppers, and I think these are Anaheim. Yeah, Anaheim red peppers. So these are my hot peppers. Okra. My okra plants that are growing right there. I don't like okra, but I have neighbors who like okra. I also don't like Swiss chard, but I have or kale. So I planted some blue curled Scotch kale for my neighbors to enjoy. And then I've got jalapeno peppers. Yes, jalapeno peppers. And my hot banana peppers. Oh, I need to come in here and thin down my spinach. So there's my spinach. My Paris Island cause lettuce. That's growing. It's like a romaine lettuce, but it's more tender. It's softer. It tastes more like butter. It tastes buttery. I don't know how else to explain it. Yeah, this is going to have to get a trellis. There's my Bibb lettuce and my butternut squash that I dropped seeds in here because I forgot to plant starts. And I do believe the butternut squash seeds I got from M.I. Gardner. I will have to double check, and I'll link everything that I've planted so that you guys can see. Now remember I said that I had to thin out my Romas. This is another bucket of extras that I had to pull out of that bed because it was struggling. It was overgrown. It was planted a little too thick. I thought these were going to die. They were very, very, very sad. And then 2 days after I planted them, I had to come in here with peroxide and spray down the dirt because it was covered in mold and algae. Because it is really, really damp out here. Yeah, we don't have a water shortage here. But they're coming along. They're doing okay. And again, I just come out here and make sure that they're going up their trellis and doing their thing. Now in the center, I did plant strawberries. Failed. Nothing. I literally got nothing. But that's my chocolate mint. I keep cutting this back. I keep cutting this bad boy back, and it keeps sending out runner shoots. Now if you plant mint, plant it in a container. Do you see? It's going to grow roots. It's growing roots right there, right above my thumb. This runner will grow roots all along where it's touching dirt. Yep. Mint can be a very invasive grower. You see where it's touching dirt? I wish there was smell-o-vision. just touching this and moving it around. It smells so good. See those roots? That's just because it's laying on top of the dirt. Anywhere that these runners touch dirt, they will push roots out. There's another one. But it's also a good tea. And this is a chocolate mint. I wish you guys could smell this. It smells like chocolate mint. Like a, what are those called? Andes candies. They're the thin mint patties. You know, the little thin, long rectangles. That's exactly what this smells like. So as you like run your hands over it, all you smell is chocolate mint. And then down here I have regular peppermint. I did try growing spearmint. It's not doing well. So same thing. See how it's growing roots? Anywhere these runners touch dirt. Yep. Anywhere it touches dirt, it's going to put out roots. So this may just end up being my mint bed. I need to come in here and trim this back again. Basically, I come in here, I trim these back to like cut them all the way down to like here. Just come in and just cut it all back so it's just little stumps sticking out, and then a week later it's out of control. And let's see, the other side, breaking on through to the other side. I have, well, off with your head. I'm losing my squash flowers. I think it got too hot. So we trellised everything up. This is 2 Connecticut field pumpkins. There's one, there's the other, and they literally just climb all the way up. Let's see. Yep. See, there's a pumpkin. Hopefully it gets pollinated. And this is overhead, directly overhead. This is why we had to put the cattle panels in overhead, because they are literally growing up and over, just like they did in California. The cattle panels are the way to go. They are a little spendy, but they will hold up to the weight. This is my butternut, or spaghetti squash. So my spaghetti squash, just like in California, grew all the way up, and it's growing all the way up and over. And it's got, I don't know if you can see that, but it's got a little squash starting up there. I've got a bunch of flowers. This is my zucchini. My summer squash, I just saw, yep. I'll have squash here in the next few weeks. And I've got some honey rock melon. They're not looking real happy because they were being overtaken by these squash. So we decided to start ripping stuff out of the school bus. This is a bus seat frame that we're just using to prop up my squash plant. Try to get it to grow up. Trying to use as much vertical space as I can. Now next year I'll more than likely have a bed just for my squash and my vines to grow up. This is 2 Black Diamond watermelons. So he's growing up here. He's doing okay. He's trying. I just come in here and help him trellis himself. You see he has the little tendrils. They'll start winding around the wires to support themselves. So here's my zucchini, my summer squash, and my zucchini. I see a zucchini. Can you see it? Right in the center. So I mean, now that we've got everything up off of the ground, the bees and the moths and the butterflies, we get butterflies in here all the time. They get stuck in here. Hummingbirds too. We get hummingbirds that come in here and they get stuck. So there's my lemon balm that I brought from California as rooted starts from my plant that I left in California that was about knee high. So I put that in here because that also helps with bug repelling. Now it smells like lemon mint. Yay! Yeah, but I just come in and I prune my squash also pretty heavily. I try to leave. Ooh, that's mint is really strong. It smells good though. I try to prune these once a week. I just come in and kind of move everybody's arms out of the way. I try to keep it open so that air can come through. It also, just like with my tomatoes, it helps fight the powdery mildew that these plants are prone to having an issue with. This is a patty pan squash, if I can get in here and show you. So my patty pan squash, it looks like I've got a couple of squash that are coming in, so that will be my first ever patty pan squash. You see, I keep it trimmed so that it can form a really heavy stalk. I probably need to come in and thin this one back. It's kind of a little out of control and it's growing out into the walkway. And that's how you end up with broken branches. Here, if I can move this arm out of the way, then you have a better shot. See, another school bus bench frame. We're just using it to kind of rest the main stalk against it so that it's more uniform and it kind of stands up instead of sprawling. It's really, really humid in here right now. Goodness. So, on the other side of this patty pan squash, I have red romaine lettuce that is trying really hard to grow in. Oh, there's another patty pan squash. Little baby one. That's going to be interesting. And my carrots. I'm really proud that my carrots are actually, they're trying really hard to grow. I did thin them. That's why you see all these like sad little guys. I need to come through and water again. But yeah, so I've got mostly squash in this bed. I did have romaine lettuce. I had 6 heads. We've eaten them already. Trying an experiment. I cut that one off at the root and left all the roots that were still growing. I want to see if it actually grows anything back. If not, I've got plenty of lettuce over there. I need to go in and cut all of that for dinner tonight. And then I've got my dill. So this is the this is the second bed that I filled. Second bed I filled. My red cabbage is kind of taking over. So I know And my dill, I cut this once a week. I trim all of this stuff down. I'm letting it bolt so that it can reseed itself. Oh, that smells so good. I love dill. I use dill on everything. So I've got my red cabbage. We put this board here to separate the red cabbage from my leeks that I need to move everybody's herbs out of the way. Get out of the way. So I've got early Jersey cabbage. You remember the first blue bin that I was showing you? This is where I pulled all of those extras out of. And then I've got leeks in between that everything looks like it needs to be watered again. Now I've got my pickling cucumbers, my Boston pickling cucumbers. Plenty of flowers, and it looks like I should expect to start seeing some cucumbers. It looks like I need to thin this down again. These leaves, everything just literally grows all the way up, and I need to start trellising it up towards the cattle panel in the center. Get out of here. See, moths everywhere. All kinds of moths. Moths and spiders, and yeah, I keep dropping flowers. Now, when your plants start dropping their flowers like this, they're stressed. They're either overwatered, underwatered, or it's just too hot. So they'll start dropping flowers. Oh, hello, Spidey. Look at him. Hi. He's a good guy. He won't bite me. I say that, and every time I say, oh, that's a spider that won't bite me, they bite me. I end up getting bitten. No superpowers yet. Where'd he go? Oh, that's where he lives now. He just lives in here, and I find little dead bodies all over the place. So, I mean, that's fine. He's doing his job. So I've got Boston pickling cucumbers in this row right here. And then on this side, I have straight 8 slicing cucumbers. So they're a garden slicer, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's the cucumbers that you use in salads and whatnot. Oh. Nobody wants to stay on their trellis. They like to hold hands. So another bus seat trellis support. Brussels sprouts are still trying like crazy to grow. So I'm just letting them do their thing. If they actually start producing Brussels sprouts, I will be super stoked. I will be super happy. I keep thinning them down and moving them over. They don't do great when you're transplanting them, so just know that for future reference. And here's my opal basil, or a purple basil. I call it an opal basil because that's what I know it as, and I'm going to trim that back before it bolts. Oh, I need my snippers. Alright, so I went and I got my snippers, and I cut this back. You see I cut it pretty far back, but I still left. So what I do is when I get this inside, I strip all of these leaves up to the very top and only leave these top two little flowers on the top. I dry the rest of it and use it for cooking. And I stick these stems in a mason jar of water, and they just start growing roots. So almost finished in here, which is good because I am sweating like the devil. We move over here to my beets. My beets are doing pretty good. I think they're pretty close to being finished. I mean, I don't know. Everybody says you can eat those leaves, but I'm not real keen on beets to begin with, so I'm not about to just start chomping on the leaves. Okay, so I mean, there's the first, this is the second bed that got filled. This is the first bed that got filled. So first bed, second bed. So the first two beds are 10 feet long, 3 feet wide, and I think they're 2.5 feet tall. And then that would be, yeah, that's the third bed that got filled with all of my squash and vines, my vining stuff. And then the fourth bed that got filled is my peppers and okra and lettuces and onions. To the fifth bed. So Johnny decided he wanted corn. Well, we've got corn. We have a peaches and cream corn that he bought 2 trays of. So that got planted last week. And then I planted an early Sunglow in 2 rows right here. These were planted last week. These are a week old. And then I have the Golden Bantam corn that I think I got the Golden Bantam from seeds.com. And I'm pretty sure the early Sunglow may have come from Baker's Creek, but I will have to double check. Here's the basil that I pulled off of my basil plant and rooted it, stuck it in a jar of water. When it grew roots, I stuck it in the ground. These are all of my extra to make my, I think these are all beefsteaks that are all extra. I'm waiting for a bed to put them in. And here are my bag of potatoes that started seeding. You know, they started growing eyes, and I was like, well, screw it. I cut them up, hardened them off over a 2-day period, stuck them, came out here and stuck them in the ground, and 3 days later I started seeing these were planted last week as well. This bed is only a week old. This is 1 week. And then I put our grapes. These, I believe, are our Thompson seedless green grapes. I stuck the other one in there, I'm not sure. That's a nasturtium that's growing up there that I planted seeds last week. We've had so much rain that everything just starts growing. Here are my blackberries and my blueberries. Those will get put on the other side of the yard. And here is the 6th bed that is ready to be filled, but I need dirt. So as you can see, we just take all of the branches and leaves and whatnot and fill it about halfway, and then fill it with just regular topsoil, and then I top coat everything with a really good potting soil or a good raised bed mix that I put together with perlite. These are, I believe, are red grapes that I'm going to put in this bed. once it gets filled. And there's our compost bin and our wood chip bin. And we notice we've got a cattle panel trellis. I made sure that this pathway was nice and wide. And if you stand under the trellis, you're going to have a pathway that goes directly to there. So this pathway will split off. It'll go directly to that bed and the front of the high tunnel. And it'll also have a path that goes the length up to the rest of the beds. As we get everything done, I mean, this will all be raised beds. Give you a nice 360-degree view. Well, I hope you enjoyed that tour. Sorry I had to cut that short. It's starting to look like it's going to start pouring any time now. I just heard a big old roll of thunder. Rooster's over there. Rooster's over there letting us know that, hey, it's going to rain. It's going to rain. Yeah, we know, Chicken Little, thanks. It's super hot and muggy. I'm sure anybody who has seen me at Renaissance Fair, you know this look. This moist, dewy look that's not quite so fresh. It's really warm. It is very, very humid. It's like, rude. It's like a 94% humidity right now. It is literally getting ready to, the sky is getting ready to open up. So I figured I'd come and sit on the porch and I would wrap this video up. I know it's been a little while and I am working on a couple of more videos to wrap up the series for building that high tunnel. It's just taking me a little bit of time. I did find software. If you've seen the first video in that series, then you know that you can see that my editing has kind of improved a little. It's just taking me time to learn a new piece of software, find software. First of all, I have to find software that I can use without cussing like a sailor and taking 8,000 years. Everybody waves out here. They drive by and they wave, so you gotta wave high. I don't want to be that rude, stuck-up neighbor. They live about a mile up the road. Anyways, so yeah, it's just taking me some time to learn how to use this software. I did find software that is a little bit more intuitive. It's almost like the YouTube Studio software used to be, where you kind of drag your video in and you can edit it and like slice it and add layers. That's a little bit easier format for me to use. It's not as confusing or cumbersome. So I am working on getting those videos put together. So those will be forthcoming as I can get them done. I have other projects, obviously, that I'm kind of working on as well. So I guess that's it. So if you have watched up to this point, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. So thanks again for watching to this point. I know that I ramble on and 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 on, because words. But again, thank you for watching up to this point. If you have questions or you need more detail, please put it in the bloopity bloop bloop box down below. I will try to answer questions as I see them. Questions, or you need more detailed information, or, I mean, I'm not an expert on anything. I know what works for me, and if I can share that information with people and encourage them to grow things, then I'm more than happy to try to encourage people to grow all of the things. Grow tomatoes, grow cucumbers, grow your salad. I'm going to try to grow bacon seeds here very soon. That's the next goal, is to have pigs so that we can have pork chops and bacon. I'm rambling, aren't I? I was going to wrap this video up. Boy, you know, it's a really good thing I don't go live, because if I went live, I feel like I'd be on here for like 3 hours. Just rambling about nonsense. Anywho, I will catch you guys on the next video. If you have suggestions for videos that you want to see, or if you want to see Johnny do a video on how he puts together his raised beds for me, because he does all the building and I do all the percolating of ideas. I need this. Please build for me. I need this thing. So yeah, if you have any suggestions for videos that you would like to see in the future, yes, canning videos are coming. Sewing videos, those are a little bit more... I haven't even unpacked my Husqvarna. My Viking is still in its box. My Taxo needs attention. It needs to go to the shop. Anyways, rambling. Oh my goodness. Like, share, subscribe. Send me all of your questions. Hugs and joy to you and your family. Have a wonderful day. Bye.